Welcome to this free immigration help channel. Today is November 27, 2023, and we are getting into the volume 184 of me answering your immigration related questions. As always, before beginning this video, as in every video I'm going to mention, I am not an immigration attorney. This is not legal advice. All the information provided in these videos on this channel are directly from official government sources like USCIS and of course the Department of State with their visa bulletin. So let's start with the very first question comment from Bandari Yothermai. Good afternoon, I am Bandari Yothermai, aged at 72 from India. My daughter is a US citizen and applied for my green card in November 2021. After applying as my visa was expiring, I came back to India. I got approval in November, December 2022. Then there was a stamp on file closed, which we didn't understand. So far, they haven't called me for medical and biometric. Now, almost 1 year over after I got approval, I'm wondering what's my fate and for how long I have to wait. Please guide me. Thank you. But Bandari, thank you very much for your comment. Really appreciate it. So the good news for you is that you are in immediate relative category, which means that once your I-130, the one that your daughter submitted, was approved, you already had the immigrant visa available. The only thing you're waiting right now for is the interview. And most likely, since it's been already almost 1 year after you were documentarily qualified, which it sounds like you were already documentarily qualified, that's what you're referring to, case being closed. Once the NVC documentarily qualifies you, they close your case and send it to the US Embassy for the scheduling of the interview. So that's really all you're waiting for. So with that being said, I'm thinking most likely your interview has already been scheduled. The only reason why you don't know when it was scheduled for is because they cannot announce your interview earlier than 30 days before the actual interview, so that you have 30 days for the medical examination. Typically, and speaking from my own experience, personally, myself, I have petitioned for my parents, and it took them just over 9 months after becoming documentarily qualified for their interview to be scheduled. And we are not from the country that is as busy with the immigration related, basically whatever embassy is dealing with, right? You have non-immigrant, you have immigrant stuff, the interviews that they're doing. It's not as busy as India. I would expect India to have a lot of higher immigration traffic going through the US Embassy, which, the reason why I'm bringing this up is because most likely US Embassy in India is busier. So in my case, it took 9 months. A lot of people I hear on this channel, from questions like yours, it takes, as long as a year and a half. I haven't seen anyone, I don't think I've seen anyone in immediate relative category waiting for longer than that. But I would say a year and a half is about as long as people wait. So with that being said, you might potentially have a little bit more time to wait. Possibly you're looking, I would say, first half of 2024, anywhere from January all the way to, I would say, June, July, possibly you can wait. But one thing that you can do is you can reach out to the US Embassy in India and let them know, over the phone. Just tell them, whoever picks up the phone, say, hey, I am immediate relative category. I was already documentarily qualified almost a year ago, and I just wanted to see if you can tell me if my interview was scheduled, and if it was, when it was scheduled for. A lot of times they're gonna say we can't give you that information, but I know cases where they got somebody nice on the phone in the embassy and they were understanding and they said, sure, let me take a look at the system, because it's not an official announcement, so they just tell you, but it's not official announcement, so you can go and do the medical examination with that. So I'll give you the link for, let's see, India. There we go. I was expecting multiple. Yeah, there's a few consulates, quite a few consulates, and there's an embassy in New Delhi. So give them a call, ask them, and hopefully, they will be able to give you that information. But again, if they don't be upset, because most of the times they don't, they don't give that information. But if they do, that's nice. If they don't, I would say your interview's right around the corner, right around the corner. So let me pause this answer right here, and we're gonna move on to the next one from Paterella. Thank you for your explanation. You're very welcome. I applied for my mom and received the qualification letter on June 30, 2023. Okay, so documentarily qualified as of June 2023. Awesome. However, I have not yet received the interview date from the NVC. Is there any way to follow up and find out how long it takes to receive the interview date? My biggest concern is that the NVC changed my embassy from Ankara to Abu Dhabi. Oh, okay, so from Turkey to Saudi Arabia. That's a significant change, and I do not know if this change will help or worsen the processing time. If you have not requested the change, because I've seen a few people on this channel commenting, and they themselves requested the change of location. If you did not request a change, then most likely it's something with the US Embassy in Ankara. Maybe it is overbooked, maybe it is too busy. And if that's the case, then yeah, definitely it's good for you, because they're trying to accommodate you faster, possibly. But like I was explaining to the previous commenter, you can do the same thing. You can call the US Embassy in Abu Dhabi. Honestly though, I wouldn't recommend doing it right now, because it's only been what is it, June 30, so like July 7th, so like 4 or 5 months it's been. Yeah, so I would recommend waiting a little bit longer. Maybe give it another month till the end of the year, and then somewhere in the mid-January, give them a call in Abu Dhabi and say, hey guys, especially because they're transferring the case, you want to make sure that they receive it and they have time to schedule your interview, so give them a little bit more time. But most of the times, if you're in immediate relative category, which you are, your mom is immediate relative, parent of US citizen, immediate relative category, it's pretty quick, relatively, compared to other categories, of course. But you still have at least 6 months to wait after becoming documentarily qualified and until the interview is scheduled. Most of the times, US embassies, they have at least 6 months ahead the interviews, stacked up and people waiting. Okay, so let me post a response here, and I'm gonna do the same thing. Let's see, Abu Dhabi. I'm pretty sure it's Saudi Arabia. I might be wrong, but let's double check my geography. No, it's in Riyadh, U.S. Embassy in Riyadh. Maybe Abu Dhabi is a separate country. It's a horrible geography here. No, it's not. No, I'm pretty sure it's Saudi Arabia. I might be wrong, but this is the website where you can find just whatever country you're looking for. I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna paste it. I apologize if my geography is off, which it is, I know for a fact. But this is the website where you can find all the US embassies around the world and their phone numbers, obviously. Okay, let's move on to the next one from the Big Valbowski. Thank you very much for being publicly subscribed to this channel. This is what this icon means. We really appreciate it. So the Big Valbowski says, for United for Ukraine, I received a confirmation notice, but my girlfriend never received an email notification. We attempted to use the receipt number to apply for travel authorization, but experienced error stating you cannot add this case to your account because it has already been linked to a US. Yes, okay, that makes sense. That definitely makes sense. I wanted to try to submit an e-inquiry, but doesn't have the form. Yeah, which is I-134A. Yep. The only thing closed is the I-131 travel document. You don't need that. Can't even send them an email in the website since I'm blocked for some reason. I'm just wondering if you encountered the error. Okay, so the problems you're experiencing is because of the nature of the I-134A. It's a newer program. It was introduced, I don't want to, give you false information, but probably about maybe a year ago, maybe less than a year ago. And since then, since when it was introduced, they updated it so many times. It changed so many times. So as of right now, at least as of recently, whenever I was checking it, probably a couple of weeks ago, you can check the processing times, you can submit the case inquiry, you really cannot do anything with this I-134A just because it's not linked to any of these available kind of internal systems that they have. And the reason why it's happening is because it's a newer program and there was massive update because it was only paper and then they switched it to online. So whenever you have all of these changes happening, processing times are out the window. Obviously, case inquiries, because now in USCIS you can only submit a case inquiry if your case has been outside of normal processing times. But with I-134A, you don't even know what the normal processing times are, because, well, it's not even listed in the processing times. At least the last time I checked it. So that's why you're experiencing these issues. So with that being said, you really don't have a lot of options. I mean, you can call them and go through thousands of different prompts and probably spend like 30 minutes before you can actually reach someone, real person, on the phone. But then again, they won't tell you anything. They'll just say, oh, it's processing, wait, and that's really it, unfortunately. Because of the nature of the program, because it's a brand new program. And the I-131, obviously, it's completely different, a whole different thing. And of course, they're not gonna give you an access, even an access, but the ability to fill out another immigration form. It's because you already have an immigration form going, which is I-134A, and you cannot apply for the travel authorization based on that existing I-134A, because travel authorization is only for certain, basically, immigration statuses that that they consider, that you are even able to submit, the application for travel authorization. So, with that being said, like I said, you can try calling, but it's really just going to be waste of time, because over the phone they'll tell you, oh, just keep waiting. The best thing to do, honestly, in this situation, is just collect as much of the evidence and everything, all of the stuff that you have, the communication between USCIS, all the receipts, and depending on how long it's been, okay, because if it's been more than a few months, the nature of these programs, like United for Ukraine, is to really to be able to be a sponsor, to help somebody, to bring them, and in your situation it's your girlfriend. So the matter is urgent, okay? With that being said, maybe you will be able to reach out to local, here in the United States, to local elected officials, whether it is the state senators, governors, state representatives, whoever it is. Reach out to their office. A lot of them, they do have like groups of people that work on certain cases in certain fields, and a lot of them do specifically for immigration purposes. And you can reach out to them and you can say, hey guys, I'm a US citizen, or I'm a permanent resident, or whatever, I live in the United States, whatever you describe your situation, and then explain the situation, that you filed this petition, United for Ukraine, for your girlfriend in Ukraine, and it's been that long. Here's all the communication with USCIS. I tried to reach out for help. I tried calling them. I tried to email them, but it's nothing, because the form is new. There is no support basically for that form. Meanwhile, the situation is urgent, obviously, for obvious reasons, and I'm seeking for your help. And a lot of times, these people in senator's office, in these elected official offices, right? They reach out on behalf of you to these government agencies, and a lot of times I cannot tell you how many times I've seen, personally for me, help, a lot of help, because when they reach out on behalf of you, things start moving along, okay, within those government agencies like USCIS. So in your situation, it seems like that might be the only route to take, just because of the nature of the program, and it is so new, and it's through USCIS. There really is, I don't know if there's anything you can do through USCIS. So good luck with that. If once you do reach out, if you have any updates, please come back to this channel. I would really appreciate the update, and that goes for everyone whose questions I address. If you can come back and provide update on this channel, it's good to know that your case is moving along. Okay, let's move on to the next one from Sindit Mahmoud. Hello there, I'm back again with my another question, which is like being burdened on me for not having a proper reason. Okay, so here's the thing. I have mentioned it, I got my documentary qualified on 24th April 2023. But at 9 September, some incident happened, which is like, as usual, I was checking my mail and logging every day to my CAC profile to see that everything changed or anything. So suddenly I saw that my civil documents are missing. Even after getting my documentary qualified mail. What? So I checked that what's missing there, and it was my police clearance. And previously they asked me the same questions, same documents, and I submitted it and confirming that they gave me the documentary qualified mail, but now they wanted it again. After being documentarily qualified at September, so I gave it immediately after renewing my police clearance again and submitted. But still they are not approving it in September, so you submitted in September, okay. But still they're not approving it, I don't know why. But I should include one more thing, which is usually if they want something from us for documents or anything, they give us a mail in our Gmail and in inbox 2 of our CAC profile, yes. But now in September they created a new column for uploading a police clearance, but they didn't send any mail in my Gmail. Wow. Or they also didn't tell me anything in inbox of CAC profile 2. So can you tell me please what exactly happening? Thank you. Wow, Sandy, that's messed up. I don't know why you're experiencing this, but this is messed up. It's messed up that they didn't send you the notification. And I mean, I can say, hey, maybe you didn't notice that they didn't documentarily qualify you, but honestly, this is silly. So if they are adding a new column, sounds like they did do some changes in their website, and I think you might have been affected because of that change. I think you might have, I honestly never heard anybody become documentarily qualified and then become undocumentarily qualified and have to do it, add something else to it. It's ridiculous. It's annoying too. Sorry you're going through this. It's annoying. But with that being said, since you submitted a revised police certificate in September, it's been about September 9th, so it's been like a month, just almost 2 months. Almost 2 months. Whenever it comes to NVC reviewing your documents for documentary qualification, second or third or fourth time, they take longer, unfortunately. And most of the times, it's between 3 and 6 months, depending on what your family preference is. If you're immediate relative, it is faster. If your family preference and there is no rush, they might take a little bit longer. But 3 times on average, 3 months on average, not times, 3 months on average. You wait after the resubmission. The first submission usually is reviewed within like a week or two, very quickly, but then the resubmission, it does take longer. I have no idea why they did it. It is annoying why they made you go through it again with the new police certificate. I don't know why. Maybe the previous one was outdated, or I have no idea. It is crazy. I never seen a case like this. But you resubmitted it, so that's great job. Well done. You acted quickly, and now, well, give them at least 3 months. What you can do is you can always submit a public inquiry to the NVC and follow up and say, hey guys, but I would still recommend giving them at least, 3 months for the review of your resubmission. So I would say give it another month. If they don't reach out to you by like mid-January, then send them a public inquiry, and I'm pretty sure you know how to do the public inquiry, but if you do need a link, let me know and I'll post a link. But I do have a video on this channel that explains how to submit a public inquiry through the NVC. It is pretty straightforward. And also I would recommend going through your NVC portal and just double checking the communication, making sure that you have, I don't think they had before where you could enable, disable email notifications, but you never know. With the updates that they're doing, they might have added that function, and that might have affected your, you not receiving the emails from them. So I would check on that just to be sure as well. I haven't had access, unfortunately, to NVC portal for a while now, for probably like a year, maybe a little bit less, to a fresh NVC portal that is not documentarily qualified, but they do these updates all the time, so that's what might have affected your situation, unfortunately. And please come back to this channel and let me know the update, what you figure out, because that would be really helpful. Like I said, I've never seen anybody become documentarily qualified and then become undocumentarily qualified after. It's ridiculous, it's crazy. And you've been in April, so the whole May, June, July, August, you've been documentarily qualified for 4 months, and then September. It's annoying, seriously, it is annoying. Sorry you're going through this. Okay, let's move on to the next one. Looks like a comment from Frisco Dog. This is a very thorough and accurate video. Thank you very much. I'm glad you found this helpful. Moving further to the user, unfortunately, YouTube does not show me the names sometimes. So the user says, regarding renewal at number 30, is this crimes in the USA or home country? What if your asylum application involves evidence of arbitrary arrests and malicious persecution in your home country? That's good. If your application involves, if you have the evidence of the persecution from the government, because that's what it would be in your home country, and malicious are arrests, that are not lawful arrests, and malicious charges, and you have the evidence to support this, that this is how it is. It's good. It's a support for your asylum application. FBI check was clear for original work app by lawyer who submitted nothing about home country misdemeanors. Struggling through renewal app. EAD already expired. Help appreciated. Okay, let's look at this. FBI check was clear for original work app. So work application, work authorization application, your I-765, the original one, by a lawyer who submitted nothing about home country misdemeanors, which the home country misdemeanors, those malicious arrests that you're talking about, whenever you do the I-765, you are applying based on pending asylum, okay? All the stuff that is with the asylum application, they really don't have anything to do with your work authorization application, because work authorization you're applying based on pending asylum, okay, not based on you running away from the country, so far so forth, based on pending asylum application. And then your asylum application itself is based on you running away from your country and them persecuting you, and then them doing the unjust things and so far so forth, right? So these two, they don't really have any kind of relationship. As far as the other stuff, with the misdemeanors from your country, unless it's some kind of part of the Interpol or whatever, some kind of international stuff going on, yeah, the FBI background check is not gonna come up, especially if this is like malicious arrests and unfair stuff that is happening. It's happening all around the world. It's hard for people here to imagine stuff like this, but I know exactly what it is. I know exactly what it is. So really, you don't have to worry about it as long as you have, because I see where your concern is, right? You're applying for these applications, work authorization in this case in the original, and you didn't mention anything from misdemeanors. No, you don't have to worry about that, because that is mentioned in your asylum application. So like I said, your main concern, work authorization, don't even worry about it. You will be able to renew it. So your employment authorization is already expired. Why are you struggling to renew your current employment authorization? Because you shouldn't have any problems. You should be renewing it the same way you applied for the original, except in this application, instead of selecting, first time applying for, you're just selecting a renewal. That's really it. So it should be very straightforward. So let me know, why are you struggling with your renewal application? I think that would be the main concern, because really at this point, there is really nothing to worry about with you. Like, your main application is the asylum application, and obviously you want to have as much evidence as possible to support everything in your asylum application. And like I said, all of this stuff, all this malicious persecution, all that sort of stuff, if you can corroborate these claims, it is only helpful to your asylum application. But as far as your employment authorization, you shouldn't have any problems renewing that. All you have to do is just submit an application and say, hey, I have a pending asylum, and that's really it. That's really it. So let me know exactly what you're struggling with, and we will go from there. Just make sure to submit a separate comment. Don't respond to my comment within your comment, because then YouTube does not send me the notification for those. Just submit it as a separate comment, and I will address it in the hopefully next volume. Okay, let's move on to the next one from Stefan. Hello sir, what is visa statistics means? Does each embassy a broad list of visa class which has been scheduled for 1 month, typically visa issuance? Meaning, can tell us something? Thanks. Stefan, yes. I mean, if you want to dig in, honestly, I don't recommend anyone digging into that. It's not very productive. Let's just say that. But if you do want to dig into the statistics and to the numbers, they are not like super fresh, super up to date, but you can, in the visa bulletin, you can find this link for the visa bulletin in the description below. And then from here, just go to the visa statistics and you can find, yes, visa issuance by class, by country, through each year. The reason why I say it's not very productive is because, well, I mean, unless you want to go by the past issuance, fiscal year 2022, 2021, 2020. So if you want to go into the past and see what was issued, you can. There's a PDF document for each one, for the family preference, employment, different categories. You can do that if you want to. Or you can do monthly immigrant visas and also non-immigrant visas for, that has been issued by each month. And if you click on one of those, you can do it by either place of birth or visa class. Again, it's to me, personally, it's not very helpful because, okay, so I know how many immigrant visas have been issued in Nigeria, and I know how many immigrant visas has been issued in Albania, and how many in Bulgaria, and okay, so what can I do with that information? Really not much. It might show you which country has a higher immigration traffic, which honestly you don't even need to look at the statistics, because we already know it's China, India, Mexico, Philippines, because they have a separate chargeability area. And as far as the prediction, let's say if I have an I-130, which I do for my brother, right? I can look into the visa statistics and dig through and see how many for F4 category immigrant visas a year issued in the country where I came from. But again, it's not an indication that the next year is going to be the same number and then the next year is going to be the same number, because it depends on the amount of applications. So the best thing to do is just glance at the visa bulletin itself, and it gives a lot more insight rather than statistics themselves. So it's up to you. Yes, you can find it right here. In fact, I'm gonna put that link so that if you want to look into it, you can. But to me personally, it's not very helpful. But again, if for some people, different things, you might find them a little bit more that works for you better. Okay, so let's move on to the next question from Dhiraj Lahanpara. Myself and my wife, both senior citizens, are scheduled for immigrant visa IR5 sponsored by our USA citizen son, but the problem is our 32-year mentally sick daughter presently living with us. She's incapable of living without family care. Is there any way to get immigrant visa for her so that she can come to USA with us? That's a very good question. Jiraj, sorry if I'm mispronouncing the name. So I am personally not aware of any waivers or anything like that you can file for a medically needy. Because the thing is, what the standard, what it would look like normally, right, is that you are getting your permanent residence based on your, class IR5. Your son is sponsoring you. You're entering the United States with the I-551 stamp that you got, your immigrant visa. It becomes a permanent residence, temporary permanent residence card, and now you're a permanent resident. So now you can petition for your daughter, who is 32 years old, and she would be in F2B, and that would take a long time, which obviously does not work. So the standard route doesn't work. So if you doesn't sound like you had your interview yet, let's see, you're scheduled for immigrant visa. Okay, so you're already scheduled for your immigrant visa. So a few things that you can do, I would recommend doing that, is you can reach out to the US Embassy where you're scheduled. And I would explain the situation and tell them that you have a medically needy and you cannot leave your daughter by herself and you want to bring her with you to the interview, if it is possible. Because, well, you're a caretaker and you cannot leave her by herself. So she needs to be with you all the time. And see if they're willing to accommodate that request. Because if they are, you can come with her and you can explain the situation to the consul that you're talking to, who will be issuing your immigrant visa. And maybe they can recommend something that will help you. Maybe there is a non-immigrant, potentially, something non-immigrant that you can apply for, non-immigrant visa, that will allow your daughter to travel with you, not as an immigrant, not as a permanent resident, but as a non-immigrant for now, until you can file that F2B and while it is processed, so far, so forth. So I would definitely recommend reaching out to the US Embassy, and also I would recommend your son who is in US, I would definitely recommend reaching out to an immigration attorney here, so that you're doing something from there, and then your son who's here, he's doing something from here, and see if an immigration, because immigration attorneys, they do know a lot of these waivers, a lot of these loopholes. Unfortunately, with I-130, there aren't any, there aren't as much, at least not that I'm aware of, any kind of like a waiver where you can make it work. But you do have an important situation. You do have circumstances that are deserving of you being helped, of somebody stepping in and saying, okay, this situation, we need to help the person and we need to take care of the person and we need to, figure out something for them. If not, okay, we cannot do the I-130 right now and we cannot include their daughter as a derivative beneficiary, but at least we can recommend them something, So definitely reach out to the US Embassy. I'm gonna post, you didn't mention me where myself, I'm a senior immigrant, from which country, so I'll just give you the general link and just find your country in there. And like I said, for your son, I would definitely recommend reaching out to an immigration attorney. Most likely it would be something non-immigrant. That sounds like the way to go, so that she has the ability to travel with you for now, and as the time passes by, you can figure out how you can maybe petition for her to immigrate, or if there is something else that you can do for her to stay with you in the United States of America. So hopefully you can figure out, and please, once you do, please come back to this channel and let me know the update, because I am looking forward to these updates from people. If I helped you out, if my answer was helpful, I do really appreciate the update on the case. So thank you very much, everyone, for watching. Hopefully my answers were helpful today. God bless, and I'll see you all in the next video.